Hey guys, it's Mercedes and Christine. We're here going to talk to you about some paperwork compliance. Christine, would you like to start?
Sure. So let's get excited. Paperwork compliance.
Yay.
So one of the first tips I wanted to mention to you guys about why we're talking about this today is the risk in not having your paperwork compliant. There could be a piece of paper that you have to turn in for your transaction that is not compliant. It's not signed by a client, it's not filled in completely, and what could happen later on down the road, if it gets missed and you close, then later there could be legal ramifications to your buyer or your seller, which could affect your license. It could affect the brokerage's license. It could affect insurance for the brokerage, and also your broker's license, and also you could end up court, which we don't want any of those things. So the most important tip here is to make sure your paperwork is compliant to avoid lawsuits, to avoid legal ramifications, etc.
A really good example of that would be, say you have an HOA on one of your listings or a buyer deal. When you get that HOA rider, which is required for anything that has an HOA, make sure that everything is filled out. From the top of the page to the bottom, everybody's signed, everybody has their name at the top of the page, the address is filled in. That is a big common mistake, and it's a vital one. If the HOA gets missed, they could come back after closing and say, we didn't know about this, and we could end up going to court and being sued for the duration of that family living in that home. Mm-hmm. And say if it's $200 a month and they stay for 10 years, that's a lot of money. So it's really, really important. Make sure that you cross your T's and dot your I's. So what else?
Another thing is the 3-day rule. Here at Century 21 Alton Clark, we have a 3-day rule for all contracts. This is listing agreements, buyer contracts, listing contracts. So if you get a listing, 3-day rule. From the day you get the listing and it's going to go active in the MLS and it's executed. 3 days from execution, you need to make sure that you have put that in back agent within 3 days from when you have the seller as well as yourself. Remember, on listing agreements, there's the seller, yourself, and the broker needs to sign and initial those. So you need to have that document in back agent within 3 days. You also need to make sure that 3 days before your closing is going to happen, that all your paperwork in back agent for that transaction is compliant and is uploaded into back agent. Not that you have it on your home computer or you have it in a paper file, that it's compliant, filled out correctly, signed correctly, and uploaded to back agent. And this not only goes for the listing agreement, but as I mentioned a minute ago, for as-is contracts, FAR contracts, all seller contracts on listings, and all buyer contracts. Please make sure you follow that 3-day rule.
And as long as you're getting your paperwork in the 72 hours that are provided, we'll be helping you to make sure that your paperwork is compliant. Her and I both do reviews of every transaction, and I do the first review. I go through and I approve or deny your paperwork. If I deny your paperwork, it'll have a specification in there that says exactly what's wrong with the paperwork, and it's up to you to get that fixed. Aside from that, we will help you make sure that everything is good. You just have to make sure that everything gets turned in.
Yep. Another thing is you can get paid faster. So if your paperwork is compliant, especially a few days before the closing, we can make sure we're doing all of our audits and checking everything to make sure that you're getting paid very quickly. Whereas if your paperwork is missing, documents missing, or a piece is not filled out completely, or missing a signature or initial or a name, then it could take a few extra days for you to get that fixed, which then is going to delay your commission and you getting a check. And we don't want that to happen.
Right.
We want everything to be run smoothly, and we want you to get paid on time.
It's kind of awkward.
Also, again, make sure you're turning your paperwork in, and not to Mercedes or not to me or not to James. You're actually uploading and starting a transaction in back agent and uploading each document into its own individual tab. That's very, very important.
Yes.
And lastly, I wanted to touch on that there is a possibility if you are late on turning in your paperwork or if you are not compliant with your paperwork, that there could be a possible potential administration fee for that happening. And please see your policy and procedures manual for more details on that.
And I think that's it. If you guys have any questions at all, you're more than welcome to call me or Christine, email, text, whatever. And we're always here for you guys. So please, let us know if you have any issues. So
Okay.
see you guys later.
Thanks.